Hi guys, I'm Enrique and this is Enzyme Art TV. Today we're going to go over how to draw a zombie. If you want a drawing subject that you can really put your own spin on, zombies is where it's at. Think about it. Zombies are really just post-human versions of us. You can draw them anywhere on a scale from purplish fat guy with food poisoning to your librarian missing her lower jaw. Since it's so popular to draw the faces of zombies with decaying skin exposing the muscles underneath, now would be a good time to go over the muscles of the face.
The muscles in the head wrap around the skull nice and snug. So let's say the guy's walking down the street when he gets sliced in the forehead with a hot dog stand. The muscles which will be exposed after this tragedy will be his frontalis. If this dude had met with a corner of the sharp hot dog stand a bit lower on his face, he may have been flaunting his orbicularis oculi or maybe even his levator palpebrae superioris. On the cheek, there's the zygomaticus major and minor, with the orbicularis oris underneath the lower lip. Finally, on the chin, there's the depressor labii inferioris. And next to that, there's the mentalis, which is shaped like the Millennium Falcon.
In all honesty, you don't have to remember the names of these. All you have to do is remember what they look like. Every muscle has a job. For the sake of accuracy, it doesn't hurt to get your science on and really study how these shapes interact with each other underneath the skin. When it comes to the body of the zombie, we've made a previous video about superheroes in which we go over the human anatomy. Check it out by clicking right next to me. Let's take a look at what makes the living dead unique.
What happens to the human body after death? Well, first, the body turns kinda purple, and rigor mortis sets in, making the position of all the limbs stiffen up into place. Next comes a bloated stage, where the gases build up inside the body to give it a puffy, who killed the Pillsbury Doughboy kind of look. Then, in the actively decaying stage, maggots start to devour the body. And this is followed by the advanced decaying stage, which is like the first one but cooler. And after all this, only bones remain. Upon decomposition, the fat in the cheeks is usually the first to go. That's why you always see the duck face swag on a zombie in pop culture. Another thing that happens in decomposition is water being dried up from the body. This affects the look of the eyes, which takes a very deep and cavernous look. This might be terrible news for those who want to illustrate their necro fantasies, but loose skin disappears as well. This more so applies to the skin area around the mouth and eyelids, and cartilage areas like the nose or the ears. The zombie positioning is generally of a limp or a slow walk. Some run, I guess, but it might look cartoonish to draw a still of a zombie training for a marathon. This is because traditionally zombie designers tend to play off the stiffening effects of rigor mortis to make the zombies animate as if their limbs are not very malleable. Another commonality besides the tensed up zombies is for the zombies to be extremely drooping, slow, and lax. The difference in this case would be mostly in the neck and arms, which instead of crooked and straining would be drawn with much softer, more curved lines. Now for the fun part, let's talk about damage. Believe it or not, but there's such a thing as clean destruction. What I mean is that not letting the injuries you draw into your zombie distort the anatomical construction of the figure. If you cave in part of the skull, for instance, don't let the proportion of the head completely fall apart. It's awesome to try to make a viewer uncomfortable with this. Have guts hanging out, broken bones, missing limbs, and other injuries. But remember, whatever you do, your drawing must hold together. The viewer needs to be able to distinguish what's going on if you want the drawing to have the desired effect on them, which means that whatever damage inflicted must affect the body without mushing it up into chaos. My best advice for this would be to plan out the extent of the damage to your zombie and how each injury got there. Which brings me to my final point. Making a backstory for a zombie makes designing one much easier. Was he a farmer? Maybe he got stabbed with a pitchfork? Did he like Mexican food? Maybe he died in a tragic taco accident? The point is, being thorough in this category really does further the design of your drawing in a positive way. For my drawing, I'm imagining a traditional business dude in a suit. He used to take the subway to work, which was like a cesspool of germs, which exposed him to an airborne, horrible magic zombie virus. And post-transformation, he ate like, let's say, 1 or 2 people from his building. What would he look like? I'm gonna draw him from the shins upward to get a better look at him. I'll start with a framework to get a proportion down. Next, I'll find the angle of the spine, putting in these lines very lightly so that I can erase them later on. The lines serve only as proportion finders so that everything is planned out to balance out evenly before I get into each individual part. I place a few shapes to find the head, rib cage, and pelvis. I find the positioning of the arms, and I will be doing a very loose pose for this demonstration. He will have very limited motor functions up until he attacks. I draw him with all his features as he is not very decomposed.
Hopefully this speed example has inspired you to try a few things on your own. Get weird with it. Overview your anatomy, keep practicing, and as you should always do during a real-life zombie apocalypse, stay creative.